It is Tuesday. We got 2 segments left before we close out this show. We're going to dive into Overreaction Tuesday here on All Steelers Talk. We're still working on that video. I promise. I won't lie to you. I've said it every day on the show, and then the next Tuesday rolls around, and I go, oh, I forgot to send in the video. I'll get there. We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. With that said, Nick, I'm going to toss it to you. Overreaction Tuesday, Week 8, Pittsburgh Steelers, New York, or Week 9, Pittsburgh Steelers in the bye week. We got nothing ahead, nothing behind. What do we got?
We got a couple of overreactions. I got 3 listeners put 5 in there, and then we also got a couple that are already in here in the live stream, so we'll get to all those as well. Let's start it off with mine. This offense will not work without Najee Harris if they don't re-sign him next season.
Oh, I'm going to go overreaction. I get where you're coming from. I definitely get where you're coming from on this one. Starting off with a bang, too. This is why we need the music. You know what I mean? Because if Nick's going to start off with some bangers like this, we need something to lead in, really juice it up as we get here. And I don't think I did a good enough job leading us into Overreaction Tuesday on this one. I think it's partially because I'm ready to die. My head feels like it's ready to explode. And I'm pretty sure there's a presence in here with me. And Nick is just making fun of it left and right. And they're definitely listening.
I respect it. It. That's all.
Yeah. You tell that to me when I wake up in the middle of the night to somebody just tapping me or something. Go ahead. I'm going Overreaction Tuesday, or overreaction on this one. The reason I said I understand where you're coming from. I get it. Najee Harris, 3 back-to-back 100-yard games. He looks like a stud. He is the heart and soul of this offense right now. He is the piece that makes it work. He is what you lean on every single game to get everything else working well. This is what the Steelers offense wanted to do. They wanted to lean on their run game and work everything else around it. I get all that. But at the same time, I mean, you could find another Najee Harris. There are other Najee Harrises. They come and go. And running back is the one position that you really could look at it and say, there are pieces that make this work. And maybe it's not Jaylen Warren. Maybe it's not Cordero Patterson. But who knows who it's going to be, because I just have a hard time saying if Ashton Genty finds his way to Pittsburgh that he's not going to be able to do these things and that he's just going to stink. I got a hard time saying that if, I don't know, whoever becomes a free agent in the offseason and the Steelers go out and get him, that it's just not going to work. So I get it, all respect to Najee Harris, but I'm going to go overreaction. I think you could replace Najee Harris with a Najee Harris level talent or higher and make it. I think it boosts their need for a running back in the offseason. I think it clearly makes it priority 2, maybe priority 3. But I would say you could find somebody else to carry that workload and take on Najee's hole here.
All righty. So we start with an overreaction. Let's see if this is an overreaction as well. One player we haven't talked about really at all this season is Keanu Benton. I will say, overreaction or not, Noah, Keanu Benton has been more disappointing this year than Patrick Queen.
Oh gosh. Keanu Benton is a nose tackle, okay? And Keanu Benton's role as a nose tackle is simple. Just stand there and clog the hole. I will say that he has not lived up to the breakout candidate. This dude's going to be an absolute monster in year 2 label that everybody slapped on him. But I'm not going to say he's a disappointment. I think he's got disappointing moments. But overall, not the – see, even StreamYard agrees with me. Overall, not a complete disappointment. Patrick Queen has come into his own. Not every week, not consistently, but he has had his moments. But I think overall he's been more of a disappointment than he has been like a great addition. And if I'd pick between, Keanu Benton is just he's underperforming less, we would say, for the expectations given on him. And I think that goes into the position that he plays and the role on defense. I will say he's got to do more. He's definitely got to do more. But I'm going to say walking the line of an overreaction, but an overreaction simply because I think the biggest disappointment on the Steelers right now is Patrick Queen. Like, without question, Patrick Queen.
Alrighty, let's go to my last overreaction before we head over to the listeners. An offensive line built around Dan Moore, Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, and Troy Fautanu will be top 5 in the NFL for several years.
Ooh, wow. Wow. Hit me with a bang to finish yours. With a bang. You're saying Broderick Jones is gone.
I'm saying I don't know where Broderick Jones is, but I would put Moore and Fautanu as your starting left and right tackles going into next year.
I don't think I disagree with that. I don't think I disagree. I don't think that is an overreaction. And I'll say Dan Moore is a guy that last year you wanted to move on from. That 2 years ago you wanted to move on from. This season you're thinking about re-signing. This season you're looking at it and going, he's clearly the better option than Broderick Jones. And Troy Fautanu is the future at right tackle. You hope, because you said the same thing about Broderick last year at left tackle. So you're hoping Troy does the same things at right, or better things at right. And I don't know what you do with Broderick. He's the most talented. He's just struggling. And he looked terrible last night. He looked so bad. He was the worst player on the Pittsburgh Steelers last night. And it wasn't debatable. I don't think that's an overreaction. I think if where I stand right now, if the season ended today, Dan Moore is getting a new contract. He's the left tackle. You developed him into a starting left tackle. Great job. That's what you want. Like, you want to draft guys in the 3rd and 4th round, develop them into starters, and make them the future of your team. You did it. Shout out. I mean, McCormick and Frazier are freaks. Isaac Seumalo is here for right now, but Troy looks like the future at right tackle. I'm going to say that's not an overreaction. We got to see what happens with Troy Fautanu and if he could stay healthy and if he could stay consistent. But I think the rest of those three, we got a hard time arguing against it, because right now they are the most fun 3 to watch on that offensive line.
Yeah, and to be fair, I also think that Isaac Seumalo is not getting traded or anything, but I'm not putting a 31-year-old into an overreaction about several years down the line. But I do like Isaac Seumalo as well. I don't want people to think that I don't.
No, yeah.
Especially not Isaac.
He's a scary dude.
Reasons. Let's jump over to the listener overreactions, the ones that were submitted on our community page earlier today, starting with Philip. And we already mentioned this man today. Danny Smith should be the Steelers' head coach.
Come on. This is my favorite segment of the week, only because it's the only time that I am allowed to look like a complete goofball. This is Jay. I don't read these. I have no idea what's coming my way. We do not communicate about these beforehand. This is all straight off the rip, and they are great. Overreaction. Okay. Danny Smith is a stud. He is one of my favorite humans on the planet, I would say. I've never heard anybody speak negatively about him ever in my entire life, myself included. He's top 5 people I would have had a beer with. But he's not a head coach of a football team. He's the best special teams coordinator in the NFL, and I think could go down as a Hall of Famer as the greatest special teams coordinator of all time. Remember the times? Remember all the years of people saying, Danny Smith's got to go. Danny Smith's got to go. Danny Smith's got to go. Well, you were wrong, pal. You were very wrong, because he does not need – he is killing it. He has been killing it for years. This unit is fantastic. They have put the pieces around him to make it work. He is the most underappreciated coach in football. I mean, coach of the year, maybe. Head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers at 75, 76 years old. No, and I don't think he wants that either. I would say overreaction. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not putting him there. I'm just not putting him there. I don't want, for one, I don't want to ruin his legacy. And 2, I don't even think he'd want to take it. He'd look at it and be like, how am I supposed to drink beers at Sharky's during Latrobe if I got to be back the next day to coach a football? That's not going to happen. So, no, overreaction. Great one, but overreaction.
All right, let's go over to Charles, who says the Steelers are a top 5 offense with Russ at the helm.
Oh, top 5. No. Maybe. 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 Who you got? Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just because it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? I mean, Baltimore, because, they are technically the number 1 offense in the NFL right now. You got the Lions, who look fantastic. Minnesota looks really good. Am I missing people?
Baltimore had the best offense going into this week, and then they just added Deontay Johnson.
And then they just, yeah. But that I mentioned them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry.
I don't know if I'm missing anybody else. I mean, I guess Houston, but like they don't really have a ground game, and they just lost Stephon Diggs. The rest of the AFC is garbage, and then in the end, maybe Philadelphia. I would say borderline top 5.
Yeah,
borderline top 5. I'm not going to say that's an overreaction. I don't know if they are exactly top 5, but I think you can make an argument to put them in the top 5. I think you could make that argument. Unless somebody's got teams that you're going to put ahead of them, I got a hard time sitting here saying it's not the Chiefs, the Lions. We could toss the Vikings in there, the Ravens. Then I don't know. Philly and Detroit.
You may have, if healthy, you may have to throw the Bucks in there, but the problem is they're not healthy.
They're not healthy. So I mean, we're not talking the Steelers are a top 5 team when Russ has a calf injury. We're talking top 5 right now. So I would say maybe. I would say there's certainly a possibility and an argument to be made there. I'm not going to go overreaction, but I'm going to say you walk the line there. You definitely walk the line.
All right, this is my favorite of the week. Let's go over to Jared, who says Beanie Bishop is the reincarnation of God himself, and Cam Sutton will never see the field again.
How far we've come. How far we've come. Look, and I love Beanie Bishop, man, and I'm so excited for this kid and the future of Beanie Bishop and the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers and how he's going to make his name here and he's going to have a legacy and so like Beanie is the next guy in Pittsburgh. I love every second of that. I do. And I love it even more that I hope I get an opportunity tomorrow to let him know, hey, dude, just so you know, I called that too. You know, you called it, I called it as well. Yeah. So shout out you. But there's like 3/4 of a football game where he is a mismatch, and those 3/4 of football count. So the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers, certainly. The next long-term starting slot corner of the Steelers, certainly. The next corner to probably get a big contract after Joey Porter Jr., certainly. Cam Sutton will be starting in week 9 or week 10. And there is no debate to be had there. It will be Cam Sutton who is starting in week 10 for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Beanie Bishop coming off the bench, still playing, still making an impact, but it is Cam Sutton's job. Overreaction.
All right, let's go over to Game Zone, who says, no debate, no question, Calvin Austin is wide receiver 2.
Well, yeah, where we stand right now, yeah. Where we stand currently, definitely. There has not been a move. I mean, we'll check Twitter real fast, see what's up. Nothing. You know, the Jets worked out some kickers, but that's all I'm getting here. And where we stand right now, yeah, he is without question the wide receiver 2. He has been a breakout candidate all season long. He has put this team on his back at times, especially on Monday Night Football against the Giants. He did it before against the Chargers. I mean, yeah, he is where we stand currently. He is wide receiver 2. There is no debate there that he is wide receiver 2. Should he remain wide receiver 2? No, but it's not an overreaction to say he's wide receiver 2 right now. So I'm going to go not an overreaction. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. See all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. And for any that you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them with just a few taps. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all accounts, easily creates a personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track, and sees your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going. Get alerts if your bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over your budget. And the new goals feature automatically saves money for you without you even having to think about it. Whether your goal is to pay off your credit card debt, put away money for a house, or just build your savings, Rocket Money makes it easy. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you, sometimes up to 20%. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions. They could save members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/allsteelers. That's rocketmoney.com/allsteelers. rocketmoney.com/allsteelers.
All right, let's go over to Carl Spackler, who checks in every week for Overreaction Tuesday. Says, Minkah Fitzpatrick is no longer an elite safety. He is average.
Come on. I get it. It's Overreaction Tuesday. We got to come up with overreactions, but come on. Did everybody miss the hit on Darius Slayton last night? Did everybody just not see that happen? Because average safeties aren't going to do that. Great safeties are. I get it. He needs to come up with interceptions. He's got to start forcing turnovers. He's got to do a little bit more. I get it. But average, he's nowhere close to average. And he makes plays constantly that are not average. And he is an absolute thunderbolt most of the time. And again, he's got to do more, but he's aware of that. Everybody else is aware of that. I still don't think that, I don't think I'd call him average. I look at Minkah as a dude that our offenses are game planning very heavily against these days, that are trying very hard to ignore him or avoid him, and he's trying to make plays from time to time. He needs to make more of them, but that hit on Darius Slayton last night, and the way he went about it, the way he said, you are not going to throw a flag on me again, because it's a flag-happy game, and I've already been called for this once this season when it clearly was not the move. That was, not everybody does that. Most people don't. So, overreaction, he is still a stud.
Yeah, I was laughing a little bit whenever I saw Brian Dable on the sideline saying he hit him in the head. I was like, no, Minkah's not making that mistake twice.
Nah, it didn't even come. That was so perfect. It was actually crazy. He literally turned his body, put his head down to make sure that the hit was not even close to a head-to-head contact.
Alrighty, let's jump into the live comment section. We got a couple of overreactions here. Let's start with Shawn Lorac, who says overreaction or maybe underreaction. Cleveland Browns are more of a problem than the Baltimore Ravens now that Jameis Winston is at quarterback.
For the Steelers, potentially. For the NFL, no. This is an overreaction. This is easy. It's an overreaction simply because the Browns probably aren't going to make the playoffs. The Ravens are. The Ravens have a shot to win the AFC North. The Browns do not. I would say it's an overreaction. I love Jameis, and I think the Browns just got way better with him as a starting quarterback, but he's not, he's not going to lead the Browns to the Super Bowl. He'd be lucky to get them into the playoffs, and they probably have to go undefeated to get into the playoffs. So I would say overreaction, and I'm still very high on the Baltimore Ravens, even if I'm higher on the Browns right now.
All righty, let's go over to Landon, who says, is it an overreaction Tuesday? Yes, it is. He says, if so, Deshaun Elliott for Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt for MVP.
Yeah, I don't know why not. Deshaun Elliott didn't really play the greatest last night, but I still think Deshaun Elliott is a stud, and I'm excited for Power Rankings tomorrow. Very excited for Power Rankings tomorrow. TJ Watt for MVP is not even debatable. Not even debatable in my eyes right now. Not even close. Name one guy in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes included, who's playing anywhere near as good as TJ Watt.
Yeah, no, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
You can't do it. You can't do it. Patrick Mahomes is not playing good football right now. Aiden Hutchinson was probably the closest thing to it. There isn't anybody. There is nobody out there that is playing anywhere near as good as TJ Watt. Now, obviously, MVP has become a quarterback award, and it will remain a quarterback award. But TJ Watt is playing out of his mind. And right now, he is on pace for Defensive Player of the Year, but I really do think there should be MVP conversations to be had. And this is like the fourth time in his career that those conversations should be had. Dude is a legend. Not an overreaction. Maybe for the first part. Maybe for Deshaun Elliott, Defensive Player of the Year. But there is nobody in football. I would love for somebody to come and argue with me that somebody in football right now is playing better than TJ Watt, because just simply they are not.
Alrighty, let's go over to Caleb Campbell, who says overreaction. Darnell Washington finishes the season with more touchdowns than Pat Freiermuth. Right now, it is 2-1 in favor of Muth.
Yeah, I gotta go overreaction on that. Simply because I just think Pat's going to be the guy that catches like those 3-yard touchdowns more consistently. I don't know where he was yesterday. I would imagine that comes more and more. I view Pat as a guy who has the potential to finish with like 10 touchdowns this season in the back half, just really go on a run at some point. I hope Darnell does it too. Chances are Pat has more touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if Pat, like, George Pickens is going to finish the year with the most touchdowns in Pittsburgh outside of Najee, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pat's number 2.
And the last one for this edition of Overreaction Tuesday, Stephen Cornfield says Beanie will be the best undrafted signing of 2024.
Let me UDFA's 2024. Let's see what we got here. Let's see who's in here. Austin Reed, Keaton Slovis. No, I'm just joking. I mean, there really aren't anybody that stands out to me that says this is the guy. This is somebody who's coming. I mean, I have a hard time arguing that one simply because not a lot of undrafted guys get opportunities. And I mean, nobody's going back-to-back games with 3 interceptions in two weeks. So I think that's an easy one. I think that is an easy, not an overreaction, simply because he shouldn't be doing this. He shouldn't have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't be on the field this much. He probably wouldn't be if it didn't all. There's always a slight thing of luck in this. And he definitely, in the circumstance that he was in, got a little bit lucky, and for the wrong reasons, but probably got a little bit lucky. So I would say, yeah, not an overreaction. Beanie Bishop I will say, and is the best undrafted signing of 2024.